Well, good evening, and this is a wonderful time we're going to have here. And what am I doing? Well, this is all yummy food that we create here at the Health Retreat. And we want to show you this evening how we make some of this, one of the tools that we found invaluable for all of this. And so it's really fun. So what do we have here? Well, we have some delicious muffins that we serve at the retreat. Every Monday morning, we make those in the retreat. We have some bread that we use with avocado toast. Incredible bread. This actually has 5 different grains in it, and we make that. I think we have that on Wednesday morning. We have these are wraps that we make, and these are actually onion wraps. So we take onions and we blend them up with some other things. We fill them with some goodies, and we actually dehydrate them in the dehydrator, but so they're still living. These here are some rolls, burger rolls. So we have burgers on Thursday night, and so it's really hard to find a good burger that tastes good, that's clean. These are phenomenal. We make some cheese. So this is our cheese spread that we put together, and that's actually what we serve on the welcome when people come in on Sunday evening. So we show them cheese. It's made out of cashews, extremely delicious. This is our paste, veggie paste. And so we use this in a lot of our different soups and lentils and all sorts of things that we make with this. And basically what we do is we take 1 teaspoon of this with a cup of water, and that becomes like our veggie broth. Really good. We make it fresh for the retreat, but it lasts for probably about 2 months, the way that we make it. So it lasts for quite a while. Here's one of those yummy wraps that we cut open just so you could see how the inside is. And inside this wrap, not only did we make the wrap and the fillings, but we also made a cream cheese that is kind of like a nice dressing. And then we used a sauce, and it's similar to the sauce that we make for the cheese, but it just doesn't firm up like that. But this cheese is so unique that you can actually shred with it and do all sorts of things with it. And then up in the front here, we have some butternut squash soup, delicious butternut squash soup. In fact, the first time Ann and I made this, after we made it, we went to a restaurant and we said, oh, we love this butternut squash soup. So we ate it at the restaurant and it was horrid. So we now just eat at home because our food is so much better. And we'll show you how we got there from this. So this is all what we do on a daily basis or quite often to do things that really are healthy, are all plant-based, and it's really easy to make. So how did we get here? So what is the Thermomix? Well, it's this machine that just does so many different things, but it really helps us to be fresh, fast, and flavorful the Thermomix way. And we'll explain more about that. But what in the world got us into this? Well, oh, there's my beautiful bride and myself, and we love the water. So whenever we get a chance, we sneak off to the water to enjoy it. But when we started doing the health retreats almost 5 years ago, we really needed to create a mechanism for people to be able to eat healthy. And we wanted to show them a variety of foods, kind of like what I showed you this evening, of that you can have that are fun, that taste good, that people really enjoy. Well, it was really tough for us to find kitchen help. The more we tried, the harder it seemed to get. And we had people that would try to help us, but it just they didn't know about living foods. They couldn't do measuring right. Consistency wasn't there, and so we're really trying to demonstrate this lifestyle to people. So it was important for us to have good, consistent results every time. Well, when we moved to our new location in Canton in 21, we had discovered this product before we went. And we didn't have time to really do it or do anything with it before. But once we moved in, then we turned around and started learning it and ordered one and tried to figure this out. So we call this our sous chef. And we say sous chef because it shows up for work every day. It does what it's supposed to do every time. It doesn't complain. It doesn't ever take sick days. It's just one of those things that is really just amazing. So what does this sous chef look like? Well, it looks like a Thermomix. And this Thermomix has been around for many, many years. And it looks intimidating at first. In fact, when we first got this, we got it in August, I think. And I'd used it through the fall of that year, and come into December, Anne was wanting to do an open house. And so in the open house, she had 4 recipes she wanted to fix, and she wanted me to do it. But I was kind of busy and didn't have time to get to it. So she got up one day and she went down and started using the Thermomix. It was the first time she'd ever used the Thermomix. Well, she made 2 salads. Both of them were phenomenal. She made a soup that was out of this world, and she made a vegan chocolate cake. And that was perfect. I mean, it was just amazing. And it was all from this machine. In fact, those recipes were in the machine, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So she was just able to follow along, and the machine just did everything for her. And it's incredible. So after that, she has just taken off with it. In fact, she helped prep today. So like you saw the things that we made. She made the buns. She made the soup today. She made the what else do we have? The wrap. What was it? The muffins. So there was just so many different things that she made, and it was really, it's easy. And once we show you how easy it is, you'll just be amazed. One of the other things that was really pretty neat about it is when we were doing this as a B and Airbnb type thing, that we were able to make things for other people that we wouldn't normally eat and we don't normally know how to make, but it was easy for us to make it in this. So we'll explain a little bit more of that as we go through it. So what do we use it for? Oh my goodness, we use it for everything. In fact, we have 2 of them that we use all the time. We had 2 of them going today. We have 3, what are, yeah, 3 canisters or whatever, mixing pots that we use all the time, mixing bowls. And so we just always are turning them around and making different things. And it's so easy. One of the biggest things, though, that we really love about this machine is how easy it travels. So when we travel, we take it with us. It goes in the hotel room. We're able to easily make our soups, make saute, or even blended salads, but it just goes with us. And we love using it for making our hot water for teas. So it actually is a kettle. So it's so many different functions and things that we're able to do. So it actually, when we travel, we take it with us almost all the time. It's just one of those things. We do take the kitchen sink every once in a while too, but. So where did this thing come from? Would you believe that these have been around in one version or another since the 1960s? So they started out making them and then they progressed. And this particular unit's been around since 2019. But they were within or throughout Europe quite a bit, Australia quite a bit, over in Asia. And what's really pretty neat is here at the retreat, we'll have somebody come from overseas and they'll walk by in the kitchen and they'll say, that's been on my grandmother's counter for years, that she's used it for years. So other countries have been knowing about this device for many years. They're made in Germany, family-owned company, but it's only been in the last 5 years or so that they've actually come to the States. So it's pretty neat. So it's an all-in-one kitchen appliance that replaces numerous kitchen gadgets, making it a versatile and space-saving tool. So when you look around the kitchen, you look at all the different things that people purchase and all of the money that gets spent on different machines, and then we look at one machine that replaces so many different things. Well, how does it do that? Well, when we look at it, it's cooking and food preparation. It's a blender, and you can make smoothies, purees, sauces, just like any blender. And it works as hard as the Vitamix or the Blendtec. It just is an incredible blender. It's a food processor, so it chops and slices and grates and mixes. It's a stand mixer. It'll knead dough, it whips cream, and beats eggs if that's something that you're using. Now, when we talk about the kneading of the dough, so like today when we made the rolls, the buns, it actually kneaded the dough for that. So it just walked right through that process. It's also a hand mixer. It's a grinder or a mill, so you can make your different grains. We use it all the time to make almond flour or millet flour Those seem to be the ones that I end up making the most, it seems like, on it. It's also great for nut grinders, making nut butter, seed flours, just doing anything with nuts and seeds. Really beneficial. Well, you'd think that's quite a bit, and that would almost be worth it, but there's actually more. It's a slow cooker for stews, soups, and braised dishes. It's a rice cooker for cooking rice and grains perfectly. It's a steamer, has a varoma which goes up on top of it, and this attachment is for steaming vegetables. And what's really neat is because it's a steamer on top, you do many things through it. So we've actually made sauce in the bottom. At the same time, we cooked rice in the middle and steamed vegetables on top. So it was a one-pot meal that we made. It does that, what is it, sous vide? So it does that. We've never done it. I would never do that just because of the plastic. I should have left that off this slide. Would never use that because of the plastics going into the foods. It acts as a double boiler. It acts as a kettle for making our hot water. You can use it as a yogurt maker. And so it actually has a fermentation function on it as well. And is there more? Well, it's a scale, and it'll measure both in metric and imperial. It grates cheese and anything else. It does have an egg cooker function. It has a whisk function. The dough kneader, I mentioned that earlier. It'll make ice cream from frozen desserts. And it can do juicing. Now, I wouldn't confuse this with a normal juicer, but it blends it up really, really fine so that you can extract the juice out of it. So it's not in the true sense of the word of a juicer. It can be used as a saucepan for cooking soup, sauces, and reductions. And it's a thermometer, so it tells you exactly what the temperature of your food is, which is one of the reasons why everything comes out so perfect. And I'll show you how that works in just a minute. And the big thing is it's self-cleaning. It has several different functions for self-cleaning. It'll do a quick, it'll do dough. It has a universal setting, fat, caramel, all sorts of things, browning. So it has a lot of different functions in there for that, allowing for that. So what's included with this? Well, it has a varoma, and that's that item on the top. And so what it does here is steams, and you have two layers, which you can put things. So at the retreat, we use this for broccoli, we use it for spinach, we use it for asparagus. It comes out perfect every time. It's just amazing how good it is. The steamer basket, that's there on, I think I even have a pointer here maybe. Yeah, look at that. So it has a steamer basket. And so you lay that down inside, and that's where you can cook your rice, and it'll just sit down inside of the basket, inside the mixing bowl. Then it has a splash lid. So if you're doing something as you're cooking and something's going to splash out, so that keeps it from splashing on somebody out there. Has the whisker. So we've used this many times to make like coconut cream. So we'll take coconut cream, a can of it, and we'll put it in there with this whisker, and it just makes some wonderful whipped cream. Really delicious. Has a spatula. Now this spatula is really unique. This is one of my favorite things, probably. There's a lot of things about this unit that we love, but it lays flat, and it fits down in the blades really, really well. So it fits in there nice. And then it's a measuring cup that goes on top there. So it's really neat all-in-one machine and all of those come with it. Now, another function of this is something called Cook I Do. And Cook I Do is a recipe program that comes with it. And it has 90,000 recipes on it. So it's just amazing how many recipes are there. And it comes on the phone, it'll come on the tablet or PC, and it all syncs back to the machine. So basically what you do is you pick a recipe and you send it to the machine, and then the machine is able to just set everything up. And I'll show you how that works as far as guiding through it here in a minute. So the Cook I Do, 90,000 recipes, and all of these recipes have actually been curated. So they have chefs that put these together to make sure that they come out right, and they've been tweaked so that way. They've also been starred. So other people who make the recipe will tell you how good it is, whether they like it. So you're really able to make a decision from it. When you're looking at the recipes, it tells you all the ingredients. It tells you the steps that are involved, how long it takes. And so you get kind of a really upfront knowledge of what it is, which really saves time. When you think about when you want something to eat, you want to make something different, you don't know where to turn, you start going through recipe books, and then you have to kind of do multiple things to figure it out. Well, this actually just automatically saves all that time because you find a recipe that you like, you send it to the machine, and the machine will guide you through it. And I'll demonstrate how that works here in a minute. Seamless integration, so it works with all of the different platforms and sends it right to the Thermomix. Meal planning made simple. So you can save your favorite recipes, you can create shopping lists from it, and you can plan your weekly meals. So you can actually sit down, look up recipes, and then say, okay, I want to make this one on Monday, this other one on Tuesday. And at the same time you do that, you can send it to a shopping list. So when you go to the grocery store, you have all those items that you know you need for the week. Additionally, some places, we've never done this, but you can send it to the grocery store and they'll pre-pull all that. And in some cases, I've heard that they deliver it. We're not really into that, but we've heard that people are doing that. Smart recipe scaling. So a recipe doesn't fit for everybody's family size. So you can size down or size up a recipe, depending on how many people you're going to be feeding. So if the recipe initially was for 4, you can move it down to 2, or you can move it up to 6 people. Kind of makes it easy. And then you can create and customize your own recipes. So we've done that quite a bit with recipes that we really like. So I think I have a mention of Rhonda's um, carrot balls later in this, and so we've actually put that in there. And Anne used to make those, but she would work hard to get her date paste. Well, this has a date paste. We put it in there and it just automatically makes the date paste as part of that whole process. Works really, really well. And some other things on Cook I Do. Has a guided cooking mode, and I mentioned that it's step-by-step instructions, and we'll kind of show that here. And then automatic shopping list generator, I've mentioned that. Offline access. So if you don't have access to the online, those that you've already sent to the system and stored in there, they'll all be there just fine. And let's see, search and filter options. So you're able to actually search on that system. So lots of different functions there. So this is the main screen. And what you see over here is where we can change the amount of time. And so this is in a manual mode. So that's the time. This one here is the temperature. So we can, because it does do cooking, you can change it. Now you see this is all in Celsius. So you can actually change that to where it would be Fahrenheit as well. And then this is where you select your speed. And you can select it from something really simple as to just spin the blade to something that would be much faster where you could actually blend. So it works really, really well in that arena. So when we click this little icon over here, it opens up to, like, let's just say my week. So these are recipes that are in there, and we're going to do this one here actually today for you. We'll come back and do it in a minute. But just to give you an idea of how these recipes work, you click Start Cooking, and it tells you exactly what to do. In fact, we'll just walk through this now, and then we'll come back and figure this out. So it tells us exactly that it wants 7 ounces of broccoli. So then we just put 7 ounces of broccoli in there. And I think we've pretty much pre-weighed this. There we go. So we'll put some more in there. And we're up to 4.7. Now we do this at the retreat and people see this, and then I actually get some helpers that help me put these in. And it's amazing how people become such good chefs in a short period of time. So then we go to the next one and it tells us to put in a few ounces of red pepper. And so we'll just put in our red pepper. And you see how when we put the broccoli and the red pepper in there, I mean, it's just normal florets. And then we click next. And whoops, oh, red onion. I didn't cut any red onion for this. I missed that one on the thing. So we'll go ahead and go to the next one and come back and add the red onion in just a minute. Oops, I had the bell pepper. What am I doing here? Oh, I missed the red cabbage. That'll help. So it wanted some red cabbage. It's kind of hard to see this from my vantage point. Here we go with some red cabbage. Couple ounces. So we'll just put some red onion in there, and it says 2 ounces. I don't think I had zeroed that scale out when I did that. Yeah, just a little bit more. And sometimes I'm an overachiever, sometimes I underachieve, but we got pretty close to 2 ounces on there. So then it just tells us what to do next. And we've already put the bell pepper in there. Now it says to insert the mixing lid on top. And you hit next. Well, what it does is it automatically sets the screen for 6 seconds, and it sets the speed to exactly where it needs to be to chop that up. And all you have to do is just spin the wheel. And so it moved, automatically stopped it. It stopped it, and then it automatically ran for the amount of time. So it just sets the programs up for whatever it needs to be. And then what does this look like after it does it? Well, it's this beautiful salad that's already blended. And if it's not as blended as you would like, you just put it back in there. Now, one of the things, as we do a lot of vegetable prep, that we really appreciate about this is that it seems to throw the vegetables up and really blends them rather than just makes them into a big pile or mush. So when you try to do this in a normal blender, part of it would be blended a lot, and then other part wouldn't be blended at all. And with a food processor, the same kind of thing, you wouldn't be able to get the textures that you want. But because of the way you're able to control it, you can really just make adjustments. So let's say we wanted that a little bit more blended. So then you can just go back and you can do it again. And you could change the amount of time. So instead of doing it 6 seconds this time, maybe we'll just do it for 3 seconds. And then it just automatically chops it up. So then you just look at it again and say, okay, did it get to the texture that I was wanting it to be? So now we'll go and follow the rest of our recipe to actually make we'll put that in a bowl. I think we have a bowl right here. And this is the spatula I was mentioning before. And you see how, well, you can't quite see how it lays on the counter. Now we put that back in its place and it'll tell us how to make the dressing. So it wants to use 4 ounces of yogurt. Now we make a lot of our own yogurts in here. And so we'll just go ahead and put 4 ounces of yogurt in the bowl. And I'm a little overachiever on that one, but that's okay. We like yogurt. Has good probiotics in it. So then we're going to put a little bit of olive oil in it. It says 1 ounce. So one of the neat things is it keeps you from having to use a lot of measuring cups and different things like that. So you use less utensils and it's a lot less cleanup. So it just really helps with making that more user friendly in that area. And I was able to actually do that and talk at the same time. So then we have some lemon juice. So we'll just go ahead and ask for 1 ounce of lemon juice. There we go. And then it's going to ask for some salt, so we'll put in a pinch of salt. Bigger bowl. And we're going to skip the red pepper, or the black pepper rather. So we're going to put the top back on it. And now it's setting it up automatically for 10 seconds. And it automatically set the speed. So all we need to do is spin the wheel. So it tells it to adjust the taste and then to pour over the top of the other dressing. So here we have this, now we have this dressing. You might ask why we're doing this presentation. Well, in the last health retreat, and we do a little demonstration of these every time, but we had one of the guests that really encouraged us to share this with people because it makes delicious food. It makes it easy. And, you know, one of the things that we try to do with the health retreat is really teach people how to make healthy food practical in their everyday life. It's so hard changing the diet, living plant-based, trying to be healthy, and then staying busy in the life. So we use this quite a bit with as we're trying to prep for the week for ourselves. I'll show you how we do one of our prep type ingredients for the week. But it just really makes it simple for us. And so within just a couple minutes, we've created this beautiful salad with the dressing, and it was simple. And so and you can alter it. So if you want different ingredients in it, you can just simply change the ingredients up. So that was one of the recipes. So I wanted to show you what the bowl looked like. So when we have the bowl and we know of other equipment, it's hard to get inside the bowl and get everything out. So with this, the blade pops off really easy. It's a real simple construction. Everything is stainless steel, which is really nice. So we don't want anything that's going to come in contact with the food that's not really stainless. And it just simply goes together, and that's the bowl that it goes with. So it's really pretty handy in that case. We use it for making our salad boxes. So when we do the health retreats, we'll just exit out of this. And before I even go there, I wanted to show you where the other features are. So I showed you this. We can cancel out of this here. So this is the primary screen, but when we click on it up here, we can, oops, go over to the side, and this is where we find all of those other functions that I mentioned to you earlier. And so the scale, so you just push on the scale, and then it just automatically starts weighing. So like this is in grams, which most of us don't work in grams, but it's really easy just to change that. I'll show you how that works. So we go down to settings, scroll down a little bit, unit of measure, and now we're just going to change it into imperial. We go back and now everything is now converted. So temperature would be everything in Fahrenheit now, and everything is in ounces. So you can really just use this as a scale, which once you get used to using the machine, you find that you're able to do things manually and you don't need the guided instructions. And so it just makes it that much more handy to be able to just jump in the scale. We use this chop function quite often, and like when we're doing broccoli or cauliflower, carrots, onions, all those types of things. It's just really easy to put in here, find the ingredient that you want, and then it tells you how long to do it. So like this one is carrots. So then you tell how much weight you want to do. and then you set it, and it just automatically sets it. You spin the wheel, and it does it for 3 seconds, and your carrots are grated. Just super, super easy. We'll go back to this is where the dough kneader is. Um, the turbo, we use that for making like our um, smoothies and so forth, blended salads. This is where the pre-cleaning is. And so depending on what you're using, you just make the setting there and it cleans it. So like when we made the buns today, those rolls, it had a bunch of, dough in the bottom, and we just flipped it over to the dough setting, and it just automatically set it up and started working. Heated the water, made it nice and hot, and then it turned in and just spun it up until it was at the nice and clean. Then basically all you need to do is just pour it out and rinse it out, put a little soap in it or whatever. We used, let's see, the pre-clean. That's where the kettle is that we use quite often. So all these settings that I kind of described earlier are over in this section here. And yes, it even has a peeler on it. There's the grater, the slicing, all sorts of functions in there. So it's really all in one type unit. So I talked about doing it for the retreats. So at the retreats, we show a salad box, and that's one of the things that we really want people to get in the habit of is making prepped salads for the week. And so what we do is we just take some cauliflower in this case, and we just lay the cauliflower in there. And you can put in however much you feel comfortable putting in, and it's a little bit of experimenting. You could weigh it in if you wanted to be precise on it. So this is probably a pretty decent amount of cauliflower. And so, if you were to try to start grating that or chopping that, it would take a few minutes. Anne's not laughing at me. Yes, she is. Thank you. And you're laughing at me too. I know it. So we're going to do this for a really long time, like 2 seconds. And we're going to manually put it on number 5. Now you could actually do that. You could do that with the other setting that I did, but like I said, once you get used to it, you kind of know where things are at and how long things take. So here's the cauliflower that you would use for your salad box. And it took us just 2 seconds. That's all it took us to make this. So when we make our salad box, we have when we take the salad box, we make one of these, we turn around and we don't even clean out the container, but you certainly could just rinse it out. Then we do our broccoli. That takes 3 seconds, by the way. Then we do our carrots. That takes 3 seconds. We do our onions, which just takes a couple of seconds in there. So you just keep moving it around. And before you know it, within just a few minutes, you've got your salad box. So it just really creates that in a short period of time. So that's one of the things that we have there. Trying to think of what else I was supposed to demonstrate. She's still laughing at me. Let me see if there's any questions out there that I can answer. Is it noisy when it's doing its job? When you're doing some things like making flour and you've got like a bunch of chickpeas in there, it's going to make some noise for about the first 10, 20 seconds, and then it kind of quiets down a little bit. But like if you're making the soup, it just sits there and it just cooks away. And that's the one thing, it just does its job. And you can walk through the process and it's doing it. And then when it's done, it just beeps at you. You heard how it beeps when it's done. And it just tells you it's ready to come do the next thing. So it's really pretty neat that way. So are you muting when it's mixing, or is it just really quiet? It's just really quiet. It really is. Okay. Thanks, Diane, for laughing. I believe you would be laughing. I don't blame you. I'd be laughing too. Um, Microphone. Yep. Any other questions for what I've covered so far? We did have some fun laughing in the kitchen. It's supposed to be fun in the kitchen. That's what it's all about. All right, I'll come back to my screen sharing since my other camera didn't want to work. I'm trying to, oh, I was going to walk you through one of the more complicated recipes to show you how it tells you what to cook, what temperature to cook. Why don't I do that before I switch over there? Because that's really pretty neat to see. So today we cooked several recipes. So you just go to recently cooked and you can see what, oops, I hit the wrong button, I think. Recently cooked. And so here's a good one. We'll walk through the cheese because most people don't realize how easy it really is to make vegan cheese. And we make the cheese all the time. It's really easy. And it's just an incredible thing. So you pull up the recipe that you want and you hit, start cooking. And so first thing it tells you to do is to weigh in. Could I get the bowl, please? Yeah. So then you just start weighing in what you want in there. So after you put it in there, you see that the scale's all off. You just go ahead and zero it out. So then you just put in however much um, product it wants. So with cashews and with cheese, part of what you want to do is soak your cashews typically. Well, if you're in a hurry or you forgot to soak your cheese, this machine will help you kind of bypass that. And of course, you could do it on a stove as well, but you put in the cashews that it wants. You put in the water that it wants, and you just put in, it tells you when you get to the right amount. And if you put in more, actually, I usually quadruple this recipe when I make it. I put 4 times the amount of cashews that they want, and then just put 20 ounces of water. So once you learn the machine, you can kind of make adjustments like that. But then I hit next, and what it tells me to do is put the lid on it and to put the basket on top of that so that, and the reason for the basket is so that the steam can escape through the top. So now that I put the basket on it, then it automatically sets it up. It's going to do it for 8 minutes. It's going to make it at 212 degrees. And all I need to do is spin this wheel. Well, what this wheel does in this case is it moves those blades backwards. So it just keeps that water moving and keeps the cashews from burning on the bottom. So after it gets up to that temperature and it runs up to 750, it'll beep at me and tell me it's all done. And then you just kind of click on the next. And what this will tell me to do is just let it soak for 30 minutes. And what it's basically doing is just cooking the cashews. And the whole purpose for that is softening them up. So you don't need to do this, but it is helpful in making them softer. So now you just drain your cashews. Isn't this pretty cool? It just tells you how to make it. And then it tells you to put in the water. So you put the cashews back in there, you put in a little bit of water, and then it starts putting your ingredients in. And you just go half ounce and a half of lemon. So you just put in the amount of stuff, coconut oil, just an ounce. So it measures it. Put in 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and some salt, and some garlic powder, and smoked paprika, and some turmeric. And then you put the lid on top. So you take the basket off, you put the lid on top. It automatically sets things up for you. So it's going to blend for 45 seconds and it sets the speed. So it just automatically blends up all the cashews and makes everything into a nice paste. So then it's like, well, what do you do next? Well, you transfer that into a bowl, just a separate bowl. And then you put in 8 ounces of water. You put in your agar, which agar is a sea vegetable. It has good iodine in it, but it's also great for thickener. So it's like a gelatin, but it needs to be cooked. So what it's doing is it's putting in the water, it's putting in the agar. You put the simmering basket back on top, and then it automatically sets it up for 4 minutes at 212 degrees. And it sets the speed here to where it'll just keep it moving. So now it's cooking that agar. And so while it's cooking the agar, get a bowl, and what we do is we use ramekins. We make 3 to 4 ramekins at a time, and we put a little coconut oil, and then we come back and we put the mixture back in there with some dried herbs. So we usually use basil, um, um, oregano, and a couple others. So you just mix them up, whatever you like to use. Then you put your mixing bowl, your lid back in the top. It automatically just stirs everything back up for 10 seconds. And then you transfer it into the little bowls that you made, and then you just refrigerate it, and you've made cheese, and it's that easy. Uh, So how did we get here with this for me? Well, I am working on a website called The Man Who Couldn't Boil Water, because I never did anything in the kitchen. It was, that just wasn't where I was at. And so this machine, Thermomix, is what got me in the kitchen. And now I'm not afraid to use it to do anything. So I'll just come in the kitchen and I'll just make something. And sometimes I have a recipe that's in the machine. Sometimes I just go get a recipe off the internet. It just doesn't matter where it's coming from. So let's see. We've got a few more questions here. Laughing. Okay. Yeah. Huh. Where do we buy the cashews? We get them from Costco. They're actually more reasonable at Costco than they are at like a Restaurant Depot or another food store like that. Um, how do you make notations in the recipe? Well, that's a really good thing. One of the neat things, and you can do it in your um, um, recipes that you've made yourself, and I'll actually show you that. So let me come back over here. So up here are my recipes, and then here's the section called created recipes. And in the created recipes, you can put in there whatever you want. So one of the recipes that we have in here is butter. Um, so we make our own vegan butter. There it is. So you click on this, and then you have instructions just like the rest of them. And then you're able to come in here and look at some of the instructions. So this is for a hard butter, but if you want to make, and I put these notes in here, if you want to make it a soft butter, then you make just simple adjustments. And so you're able to make the adjustments in here that you want. Um, and if there's a recipe that's on the other side that you want to have different ingredients in, you just save it as your own created recipe, and then when you pull it up, it's going to walk you through with what you want. So it kind of makes it to where it works for you with how you want it. Now with the other recipes, you don't have to follow the directions all the time either. So we do the muffins that Ann made today. So we'll go back to recently cooked, and should be up here pretty close. Here's our muffins. So start cooking the muffins. Yep. So you're walking through. So it talks spelt flour. Well, we use gluten-free flour, so we didn't use the spelt flour, so we skipped that. It asked for castor sugar. Well, we don't need any sugar in it, so we skipped that step. So we just didn't even do it. If we wanted to, there for a while, we were using coconut sugar. And then one time we says, well, what would happen if we just didn't put any sugar in at all? And it was delicious without the sugar. So it was like, well, we're not putting sugar in it anymore. The oat bran. So we put the oat bran in there, and then some pitted dates. We put the dates in there with some baking soda, some ground cinnamon, and then you put the mixing bowl on the top, and then it automatically grinds it up for 10 seconds. Then you come back and you put some vegetable oil. Now it says vegetable oil. We use coconut oil, so we don't use the vegetable oil. And then some buttermilk. Now, we don't use normal buttermilk, but what we do is we take plant-based milk and we put apple cider vinegar in it, and that turns it into buttermilk. And we teach all of these types of things at the retreat because we really want people to be able to easily have a vegan lifestyle or plant-based lifestyle and be able to enjoy the things that other people enjoy. And that's one of the things we teach at the retreat. Okay, one large egg. Well, we don't use regular eggs, so we have flax eggs. So we take a tablespoon of flaxseed, put it with some water for 10 minutes, and 3 tablespoons of water, and it turns into a flax egg. And then we put the top on it, and then we just blend it for 15 seconds. It tells us to scrape down the sides, put the measuring cup back in it, blends it for another 15 seconds. Um, if it needs to, you can stir it, but I've never needed to. It always blends it up well. And then it tells you to transfer it to a jug, cover it and store it overnight. You don't have to do it. We've done it both ways. The ones we made today, we didn't store overnight. We just put it in the refrigerator for a couple hours. Then the next day, preheat your oven to, well, in this case, it says 170, but that's right around 350. It's 356 degrees, I think, but 350 is usually what we just put it in at. And then we put some cups in the, now we make the small ones. So we do some big ones, some small ones. And we just adjust the cooking time. And then it tells you to put the mixture in there and then how long to bake it. So when I talk about the man who couldn't boil water, this taught me how to do things that I wouldn't never have known how to do otherwise. Uh, What brand agar do we use? It's the one that I get from Amazon, and I just hit repeat purchase every time. No, Ann's gonna go get it for us. So there's some things like that that you um, don't really know what it is. I'm going to switch back over to our little presentation and see what I have left over there. Okay. Yeah. So how much does this cost? That's, yeah, that's the one. Whoops. So we use the living air one. And so that's the one we just have used for several years now. Um, Living gin. So the retail price of this is $1,649, and they do have financing. I think it's 1 year financing. It changes from time to time. I didn't get up there to look to see exactly what they were doing right now, but I know they always have some kind of financing available. They have two specials available this month. One is what they call the Perfect Duo, and that brings the machine with an extra canister. And this is really, really handy for people. Um, we use that second canister quite a bit, and it was one of the things we didn't order one initially, and then it wasn't very long. It was just a few times we used the machine, and we said, a second canister would be really handy because we turn them around pretty quick, and you're able to make a lot of things with it. The other special that they have this month is what they call the Ultimate Duo, but it's basically you buy one and you get the second one for 50% off. And so that's their two specials in there. Now, in the promotion that we sent out, we talked about how somebody could purchase one or get one for free. And normally the way that that program works is you can order the machine, will deliver it to you. You can either finance it or pay, I think it's a $700 deposit down on the machine, and then they'll ship it to you. And then what they do is, depending on the number of units that you sell, you get a discount. So if you sell one, you get a 20% discount. If you sell two, you get a 50% discount. If you sell three, you get an 80% discount. And if you get somebody to buy a fourth one, your unit is virtually free. They've got a couple other promotions that they run along if people sell five and six, but really that's how somebody gets the unit for free. Now, what they're doing this month is actually 3 units instead of four. So somebody is just able to get somebody else to 3 different people to get a machine, then they get their unit for free. And they did it the first part of the month, and it ended on the 14th, I believe, but then they went ahead and extended it to the rest of the month. But that's how the pricing works. Um, Ann is a distributor, and so she's able to help people through that process, or I can help with it as well. Anne's pointing at me like I will help you with it. Um, so if you're interested, drop a note in here and just let us know whether you would like us to provide more information on it. And we'll also be sending a email out that gives you a little bit more information. It's really pretty cool. But we'll definitely be in touch with all of you just to kind of share the link to it and then see if there's any additional interest with it. But it's really one of the things that have made a huge difference in our personal life as well as in our health retreat. And I don't know, it's kind of sometimes when Ann and I are in the kitchen, we're doing prep, and not just for the retreat, but even for ourselves. And we kind of look at each other and it's like, what did we ever do before this? I mean, it makes it so easy. And it's so much she was in the kitchen today and did a lot of different things. And she says, look how easy it cleaned up. The kitchen was clean. It was basically the mess really was just in the prepping of the vegetables. And everything else was contained inside the one canister. So it really, really made it simple. But we really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule and just stay in touch. Let us know if we can do anything for you, and we'll be back in touch soon. So what's that? Oh, yep. And as you see, Ann wanted me to remind you that the next health retreat's May 23rd and I'm sorry, March 23rd and March 30th.